This is a positive step, but I did want Mary don't step back to you to see the face of the lady that has been working to save that kind of money and to know her name. And I have to give my thanks to Sheriff Lewis that he was willing to trust my judgment of her character and this individual to help run this program and have her in place and allow her to continue with me, and I appreciate you for that. But I wanted this board to see this woman that very few people know exists, and she's not by herself. There are many people throughout the county that are working to make sure this program comes into existence. We have, the board allows the court to have a judicial assistant without any additional cost, and we'll cut our costs to make sure we can fund that person to help the program work. MDOC has graciously assigned one individual. She's here this morning, Miss Chrissy Ann. She is a probation officer who carries the badge and the medal to help in enforcement for the county. I thank Chris Epps for that. He did not have to do that, but that's a benefit in a person that you will not have to pay. Senator Tugwell is a judicial assistant, and the staff attorney is here this morning, Ms. Shirley. And so we have a team, and this year we're operating on the budget that you set. And I have promised Ms. Davis that I would stay within that budget, and I hope to come back in 6 months and advise this board that not only have we stayed within the budget, but we have provided constitutional justice in the system, and we have cut costs of medical care in Hinds County sufficiently.
Okay, thank you very much, Judge. A question from Mr. Stokes.
Judge, I've got your list on pass back. I don't know if you want to.
No, you can give that to Ms. Davis, and she can copy it for you.
Now, on this list, I didn't see the name of Derek Jack. I don't know if this is everybody or just a sample of some of them. I know he must have medicine also.
She can answer that.
This is the list throughout, I believe, January the 10th. So I don't know if he's still in our custody or have been taken off psych medication. Those are the persons that are still taking psych medication that is given prescription by our psychiatrist. So I have to verify that. If his name is on there, he may not still be given medication at this time.
We'll check all that. The name is
Derek Jack.
We will check that out.
Excuse me, I would like to remind us of the HIPAA laws that are in place that prohibit us from
discussing medical conditions.
Okay, Judge, could you also, and I know you said in terms of murders,
yes, sir.
Some of them who have mental problems.
Yes, sir.
Could we judge each case individually, because somebody may have killed someone because of mental defect may not belong in jail. Now, I know somebody's
No,
dead.
let me correct what you understood me to say. I said we would not let anyone who was a public safety risk. Okay. I didn't want anybody to go and say we were releasing people who were murderers. Each case in the courts must be addressed individually. We cannot do it bulk rate or otherwise. But no, each individual has to have the assessment first. Once that assessment assures the court that they are no risk to safety, regardless of the crime, we are going to put them on house arrest and get them treatment.
Okay, well,
the other thing is we need closed circuit TV. Ms. Graham, I'm here and I wasn't supposed to talk about that, but I told the sheriff I was going to say it. We must have closed circuit TV to cut the transportation costs of prisoners back and forth. You work with me on that. You know the savings. Explain it to your colleagues. But we can do all the pleas and arraignments from our courtrooms by screen with the prisoners never leaving the jail. And Sheriff is committed, and hopefully within a year we'll have closed circuit TV in Hinds County.
That was done last year.
All right, Ms. Davis, just hold 1 second, please. I'll go to Ms. Davis. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'll go to Ms. Calhoun, then to Ms. Davis, and then we'll move on to from this particular issue. I know you're going to say we're already working on that, but We are, but Ms. Calhoun, and then we'll go to Ms. Davis, and then we'll move on from there.
Yes, I just want to say thank you, Judge Green, and she's coming back at a later date to discuss with the board of a personnel matter.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Davis.
Yes, Supervisor Graham, that is exactly what I was going to say. We are working on that, and I believe definitely within a year that would be the case.
Okay.
Closer.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the judge coming and giving us a detailed overview of what we can look forward to and helping to save the county money. Mr. Fisher?
It was my understanding that that was working even while I was gone in Afghanistan. I thought I was under the assumption that we already had that capability.
No, sir.
My second question is, why is it going to take a year
No,
to
it
get
will not.
closed circuit TV in?
No, it will not take a year. We're working right now to get the internet infrastructure in place. Right now, we don't have the capability and the capacity through the internet to handle that amount of data that's necessary or internet speed necessary for that particular service. So we're working right now to determine which provider we will use for that service, and we're hoping within several months that could be decided and done, and so therefore we'll move forward in the closed circuit TV, and that will be well under a year.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. We have Mrs. Graves, another elected official, and then from that point we will go back to the regular agenda. Mrs. Graves, good morning.
Good morning, President Graham and the rest of the Board of Supervisors. I see you have a very lengthy agenda, so I only want to take a few minutes of your time. I'm here today to address some issues that were brought before the board back in October, November, and December of 2010, and it's just that it has been brought to my attention by a few of my constituents as to what is the status of the issues, and those issues are the voting machines, keys to the building that belongs to the county, and to rooms in the building that house property that is locked up, and also training for all the supervisors. Like I said, this was done back in October, November, December of 2010. I would just like to know the status so that I can pass the information on. And if there is nothing at this point, I looked through the agenda, didn't see anything, that maybe it can be addressed at some future point.
Okay, thank you very much. I do know that there has been an assessment made by the county administrator and the board attorney. I do know there. Are you prepared to do that this morning?
Yes,
she can provide information this morning. If you'd like information, I don't think it'll be too lengthy. From that book. Okay, let's, Ms. Calhoun, you have a question regarding this?
That's fine, but if the item is not on the agenda, the board cannot take any action.
Right, but it is on the agenda.
It is, okay.
Yes.
Question, Mr. President.
Question from Mr. Stokes.
Thank you. Could you go over the issues? I wasn't here. You mentioned several different things, but what are those issues specifically?
Oh, I stated voting machines, training for all the election commissioners, and the issue of where the machines are being housed. Their keys are not distributed to all the commissioners.
In terms of voting machines,
the issue was brought up back then as to purchasing of new machines.
Purchasing new machines, that what you think should be done?
Well, yes.
Okay.
And it was brought before the board, and
why do you think we need new machines?
Well, the machines that we have are old, and it was presented to the board to purchase other machines that was that was compared to those, but they were used machines.
I heard somewhere that the machines we currently use are not used anywhere else in the state any longer.
I believe that.
So is that part of why you want new machines?
No.
Why do you?
No, I want new machines because our machines are old. Our machines are...
They don't work properly when you say old?
The machines were purchased at least, 6 years ago?
Machines was purchased in 2002.
And the thing is, it came up because Supervisor Stokes, that the purchase of new machines basically was just going to be to cannibalize them as parts. These machines are not being manufactured anymore. And once something breaks down, why should we spend money on a machine just to have parts for what we have, when we have money and can purchase new machines? And on the new machines, all the election commissioners can be trained the same.
Are they the same type of machines? A lot of us don't understand or know about all the machines. So you got to...
Yes, the machines that was requested to be purchased, we did not purchase them. Okay. It was approved by the board not to purchase those machines at the time, and I believe it was approved by the board that they would purchase new machines at some point.
Right. Let me stop at this particular point. We'll go to Mr. Fisher, and then we'll allow Ms. Davis to give her report, and I think that some of those questions will be answered, and we'll hear from Mr. Fisher comment, and then Mr. Clark. Mr. Fisher.
Repeatedly, y'all come to the board as if this is a de facto elections commissioner meeting. Have you talked to the other elections commissioners about what you want to do and what the plan is? Are y'all representing yourselves? Are you representing all the other 3 board members?
I am here as an individual, as the election commissioner for District 2. As I stated previously, it has been brought to my attention by my constituents questions regarding this, because it's like it was brought up and then all of a sudden over years past it had basically died. I'm here for District 2.
It seems to me that this is an elections commission issue that would then come to the board of supervisors by your motion or by however method you might use that says this is what we want to do. It seems to me that you're bringing us this issue simply to say we want you to decide, or we want you to tell us, or we know that there's a split in the elections commission. Let's just be honest about it.
Respectfully, Supervisor Fisher.
Y'all are arguing amongst each other, and instead of solving your issues within your meeting, you're coming here consistently to tell us about it.
Respectfully, Supervisor Fisher, I'm not here. It's obvious that we are split. I'm here to get the answer that the board had previously said that they would give. I'm here basically asking a question as a follow-up to what was already presented before the board. This is not new. And going to other commissioners is not the solution, because the solution is right here, based on what this board has to say. That's why I'm here.
And that brings the logic to the next question. Why wasn't the board given this solution prior to this meeting so that we would know what we're talking about here?
I don't have an answer to that.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll move to Mr. Clark, and then we'll move to Ms. Davis. Okay, Mr. Clark.
Basically, the reason I'm here is to ask the question. I saw it. The voting machine, an update on the voting machine situation is on the docket today to discuss. So that's the reason I'm here. All of the issues that Commissioner Graves brought up have come before you before, and I'm here just to see what the update is on the situation. We were back last year. We had an issue before me to buy 300 used machines at a price of $350 each, plus shipping or whatever handling for 300, which would have amounted to around $140,000 for that issue. I in turn wrote the board and sent you a letter when I asked the manufacturer of these machines for warranties, for guarantees, for specifications concerning who manufactured machines and if the machine was available. I did not get an answer to that until maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. The machines are obsolete. They're no longer, the manufacturer no longer exists. So by the wisdom of the board at that time, they turned it down and said we get back with it. So that's the only reason I'm here today, just to follow up on what I've seen on the agenda today as an update to the voting machines.
Okay, Ms. Davis, would you come to the podium?
Mr. Clark, one question.
Mr. Stokes.
Thank you. Mr. Clark and I was asking about the same kind of concerns. I hear you saying we need new machines, but the people feel that these problematic elections should exist. We deserve to have fair elections. If we're going to get new machines, we need to be able to say, okay, you don't have to worry about machines breaking down. You don't have. I know they say some of it's human error, but you can go in other places. They have election, boom, everything go fine. It's like we're in Iraq or somewhere. Machines, this, people there. We need fair elections that's without problems. And if these new machines are doing it, then let's move forward with some new machines.
Supervisor, I would not profess to know what goes on in the other 81 counties concerning machines. The other part of 76 of the other 81 counties had an updated machine as of 2006, but I can assure you that in some of those elections they have the same problems that we have.
Okay, Ms. Davis, while you're coming to the podium, Mr. Fisher.
Let me assure everyone in this room and on this board that the elections held in Hinds County, Mississippi, are nowhere near those held in Iraq, Afghanistan, or any other land like that. But the effort is made to make these as fair as possible. I think what we're seeing here is an overflow of disagreement on the Elections Commission. It is wrong for elections commissioners now to speak about issues that the Board of Supervisors has not been briefed on or given any information on prior to us receiving this. And frankly, I'm growing weary of these aside arguments coming in and overflowing from the Elections Commission. I would ask that y'all go get your own house in order, that you recognize the sense of order that is required to come to the board and ask for something, and stop this bickering that goes back and forth. This is all this is y'all bickering back and forth.
Okay, let's try
Supervisor Fisher.
Go ahead,
Ms.
Graves. Go ahead.
Again, I'd like to reiterate, I am not here for you to solve any problems within our house. I'm here just to follow up on what has been presented to this house.
Okay, let's go ahead and get back to the issue. And the issue is an update, and from that particular update, then we'll move forward. Ms. Davis.
Thank you, President Graham. As you see on the agenda of the county administrator, we do have the agenda item regarding a discussion on the voting machines. The reason why that has been placed on the agenda is as a follow-up and brought back to receive further direction for the desire of the board. In early part of last year, and I did pass a report out that was provided to the board and dated February 7, 2011. That memorandum to the board was in response to the issues that were presented to the board from the Election Commission. As discussed just a moment ago, there were several issues brought to the board by the commissioners or by several commissioners. And just to summarize, as Commissioner Graves said, one of the key issues were relative to equal access to the facilities where the voting machines are located, the warehouse, and also regarding lack of training as well as the issue of voting machines. To get to the main point regarding voting machines, based on the concerns presented to the board asked the county administrator and the board attorney to provide recommendations. So this is the recommendation that was presented at the time to the board. The main recommendation at the time was to address some of the issues brought by the election commissioner. It was recommended that voting machines be purchased for many reasons, for several reasons. One of the main reasons is because of the age of the current machines. Current machines were purchased in 2002. In that time frame, I believe at this point we may be at the full life of those machines. Purchasing machines will make us bring us up to date and upgrade our technology as it relates to the voting systems. It would also provide the goal is for us to provide user-friendly and convenient voting process for our voters. So back in February 2011, that was the recommendation of the county administrator. At that time, it was mentioned or said by the board that we will move forward in pursue voting machines following the November fall elections of 2011. So the matter was brought back to the board because of that directive by the Board of Supervisors to bring back the issue following the election. So this is the reason and purpose of this item being on your agenda. So I respectfully bring this issue to you to receive further directive and also your desire to move forward to research the process in which to purchase new machines.
Okay. We'll go with a motion first, and then we'll go to Mr. Stokes, who has already. Would you like to ask a question before we make the motion?
I'll make the motion. So moved.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what is the motion?
The motion to purchase new machines, that's what she said.
Supervisor Stokes, I did not mention a motion, but ask for more direction from the board or your desire to purchase machines.
And I have a motion that we purchase new machines. So moved.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Additional discussion? Mr. Fisher?
How much money are we talking about and where is it coming from?
We do have funds in our budget, have funds of $1.6 million.
And how many machines will that purchase all the required machines?
We're not sure. That's why I indicated that we need to research how many machines are needed and for us to, of course, provide the adequate amount of machines for the voting process.
So at this point, we don't have any idea how much money may be required. So if the number required to purchase the voting machines is $2 million or $2.7 million, where would the additional monies come from?
I'm not sure. We do not know the amount that is the total amount that's necessary because we don't know the number of voting machines needed at this moment. So further research is needed.
Okay.
President,
Thank you.
address the board, please.
Just 1 second. We'll go to Ms. Calhoun, and yes, you may. Would you come forward, please? And we'll carry a motion once we get additional comments. Then we'll go ahead and carry the motion. Ms. Calhoun.
Let me just say, this board, along with the commissioners, election commissioners, have been grappling with the issue of purchasing new machines for almost a year and a half. I would have thought this morning that all pertinent information would have been presented to this board. And when I seconded Supervisor Stokes' motion, I was under the assumption that all necessary work had been done as assigned to the task force that was working on the voting machine issue.
I apologize, Supervisor Calhoun. My main purpose of bringing the issue back was to make sure that we will follow the correct path for the desire of the board. And so, of course, there's a lot of information needed to make sure we follow the proper process in purchasing machines, as well as to consult the election commissions and other entities needed to make sure that we make a sound and educated decision on the voting machines. And I just wanted to make sure that I brought the matter back as directed by the board following the elections to make sure we were following the correct path.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Davis. Commissioner Cochran.
With all due respect to all of you, and I appreciate you allowing me to speak, if the Election Commission were to have been involved in this process, we would have been advised that this was going to be on the agenda today, which we were not. Let me back up as far as the voting machines. When we moved forward in 2002, in fact, 9/11, I was sitting at my breakfast room table writing an RFP for new voting machines. It took the entire 9 months. We went through numerous voting machine companies that came in and made all sorts of presentations to us. We went and visited locations. There was a great deal of research that we went through and unanimously voted on these machines, as well as had a committee involving other elected officials in the Hinds County family and other people that weren't necessarily elected. We formed a committee along with us, the Election Commission at that time, and had one day where all of them came in. We had members of the Secretary of State's office here in one of the courtrooms in the circuit court building. All these people were present to review and listen to all facets of the voting machines that were presented. After that took place, that committee met again, and it was unanimous that this is the system that we would vote for. Because of the reason which was noted by Ms. Davis, the user-friendly, they are handicap accessible. They're the most user-friendly machines that were on the market at that time. Now you say that they're old. We bought them the first election was in 2002. So you can see the time frame that evolved in putting these into production. You don't do it overnight. When we purchased the machines, they went into operation in November, I believe, of 2002. Maybe it was in the primary in August. You can look at every one of the machines that we have. There is a public counter. There are some that have been used and voted on 700 times in that period of time. Those are the only votes that were cast. There are some that have been voted on 2,400 times. This is the only use of these machines, is to set up the machine, have them voted, and count the machine, count the votes that are tallied. It's not as though they are used every day. They are used only for elections. So, and another point about being cannibalized by my fellow commissioners, it was never the intent to purchase machines, these 75, 300, 200 machines, 300 machines, a year ago. It was never the intent to use those to cannibalize, to enhance the machines that we have now. Because of the fact that we have a maintenance system in place with people that know how to work on the machines, there is nothing wrong with these machines. Everybody in here was elected on them. They're only one purpose, and that is to elect people.
Mr. President.
Excuse me 1 second. Let her finish, and if you'd like to, Commissioner, you can come to the podium and speak.
Thank you.
As a result of our meeting last year in February, where we requested by majority vote of the Election Commission to purchase the additional machines that correlate with what we already have, you asked us to look forward ongoing into different other machines systems. Well, at that point, we had purchased, I believe, the scanners that we now use for absentee voting and curbside voting on election day. Because we had already purchased those to the tune of $250,000 or close thereof, I contacted the company feeling as though it would be beneficial to add on, if you were so insistent on getting rid of these machines, that it only makes sense to me and financially to the public that we expand on what we have as far as the scanner system. I got a quote from them in the end of May. I have documents, but we had an election. We had several elections last year. And there has not the time permitted to sit down and go through all of this, and this year is just as bad. I don't see how you can. Who's going to write an RFP? None of y'all know what we do as far as what it takes to run an election.
Okay.
So how can you go forward and do this?
Okay, let's stay to the issue and.
This is the issue.
And Ms. Rhodes, if you would come in, and we'll continue, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
Mr. President, and to this cadre of supervisors, I will thank you for the opportunity. I don't come here with the protocol of making any deviations from what you are proposing. I understand what my colleagues have said, And as a professional, I only ask of you, because I am aware that there is a motion on the floor, and I only ask of you, if this passes, give us the opportunity as professionals to do the research, to do the in-depth analysis of what is supposed to be done. And if you give us that opportunity, I promise you we'll bring forward what is necessary for our constituents of